Good afternoon everyone, welcome to Patchwork Cutters Club. My name's Tracey Mann from Tracey Mann Cakes. So I'm becoming a familiar face on here now, and today I'm going to be doing another cake paint for you. So we're going to be having another look at some more patchwork cutters whilst I stand in for the lovely Marion, who is recovering from her fall. So today we're going to have a look at the Igloo set. So that's another set that she's got in her fabulous range of patchwork cutters. Now, I've been here, as we know, over the last few weeks, painting lots of different ways with our cutters. So today we're going to make a bit of a scene. We're going to do an igloo scene with some of the cutters that are from that set. And I'm going to run through that set for you, and then you'll be able to see exactly what's in the set and then versus what I've used. So I haven't used everything in the set. I've used a few things in the set to be able to make a bit of a picture on top, because what I quite like about these patchwork cutters is we can kind of do a little bit of storytelling with them. I do like a bit of storytelling when it comes to that. So I'm just checking my laptop to make sure I've actually gone live, because you never know with me. Yes, there I am. Good. Excellent news. Right, so if you want to buy any of the patchwork cutters, the address is up on the screen at the moment, traceyscakes.co.uk. If you go into cake supplies, you'll find a whole section on patchwork cutters, but you'll also find everything that I'm showing you in our Christmas shop as well. So once you go into cake supplies, if you scroll down, you'll find a section patchwork cutters and Christmas shop. So either of those, and you'll be able to find it in there. There's a couple of things we're waiting for at the moment, but we do have igloo sets in stock. So if you're feeling inspired by what I'm going to show you today, then the website is there for you to be able to get what you need. So let's have a little look at what we've been doing over the last few weeks. Let me just take down these signs here. So far, we've been doing the reindeer, which has proved to be extremely popular, as has the snowman. So we've done these two so far, and then obviously we've done the little cute characters on here as well. So we've been very busy, and then last week we did the Christmas pudding. So we did that one last week. So today it's the turn of the igloo set. So we're going to move these out of the way. I do think it's quite nice to keep showing you what we've been doing, because the patchwork cutter group seems to be growing very quickly at the moment. Lots and lots of people have been quite inspired by some of the painting, and obviously we talked about it at Cake International, and there's more people tuning in and having a look. So now we've got some new people here. I thought it'd be an opportunity to just kind of show you what we've been doing as we've been going along as well, and also just a couple of little cupcake ideas there as well. It's all very sweet and lovely. We like sweet and lovely things. There we go. Little reindeer there as well. So lots of different things you can do with the patchwork cutters. This one is cute characters. These are both cute characters, which is part of this set here. So we have everything in stock at the moment. So we will continue now to show you all about the igloo set today. So we're live for approximately 1 hour. We can't go over that today because I've got a wedding appointment. Not for me, for a bride. So this is the igloo set. So it comes with 3 little characters. There they are. Let's move them across there. And then we've got a little dog, and we've got a sea lion, and there is a little signpost there as well. So there's lots of different bits and pieces in the igloo set. Potentially there might be other things. It's just I may have put them in the wrong place. But these are the ones I've used today, or some of them anyway. And what I've done, I've set this up slightly differently today, and I'll explain the reasons why in a minute, just so that you can understand why I have done things a certain way. So the igloo is quite big, but I have decided to use it on my storytelling board today, and I've decided to use a couple of characters. So I'm not using that one, I'm using these two here. I've taken out the large sea lion because we have a baby one. I'm not using the dog, and I'm using the signpost. Now there is a little fish available with this as well, but they're in my bag, which has got everything else in it. So there's a little fish as well. So there's lots of different things in there. Now I've already set my board up. So here is my board for us to paint. So there we go. Let's turn that round like that, and you'll see already there's a difference. So what I've done is I've covered my board in sugar paste, which I've used Colour Splash Navy Blue to create a nice powder blue colour. I have stamped this little character here straight onto my patchwork with my patchwork cutter, straight into the sugar paste, and I've embossed it. Now I did this yesterday for no other reason other than I was trying to be organised, because I was having lunch with my mother today, so I knew I was going to be in at the last minute. This little chap here I've got kneeling down here with a fish. and I thought we will attach a fishing rod to him, and so he looks like he's gone fishing. And then obviously he's picked up a pet sea lion on the way, as one does when one is in the Antarctic, I guess. Now you'll notice here that the igloo I've actually cut that out with modelling paste. Now patchwork cutters are much easier to cut out with modelling paste than they are with sugar paste, because don't forget, when we've been doing this, we've been embossing sugar paste, which means we've just been marking it, you know, taking these, pressing them in, getting an outline and then leaving it. So what I've done with the igloo, I've cut it out with modelling paste. Now the reason I've done that is that's quite a large surface area of white to paint, and I just decided actually it'd be quite nice to have it a little bit 3D as well. But we are going to put some paint on here, so we're not going to leave this just white like this. We are going to embellish and add things to it as well. So this still very much becomes part of the paint, even though we've cut something out. So when you come to do this, do use a modelling paste of some description. I've used Saraceno, which I tend to use mainly to do this, and just roll it out thinly, press it down, cut it out, and then stick it onto your board. So I've stuck that on ready. So let's move that across. Now, as ever, we're going to be using cocoa butter painting. So we have got our little setup all ready to go. So today I have got on here already, I'll show you what I've got under here, a brand new candle, which I put on there last night, which makes my tray extremely hot. So I can't hold on to that for very long. So the heat's coming up from under here, and it's making the metal paint palette hot. By making the metal paint palette hot, it means that I am then able to melt my cocoa butter. So let's get that on there now. So cocoa butter is just like little, they look like pellets, to be honest. There they are. I'll pop them on there. Now, because I preheated this before I went live, you're going to see them melt very, very quickly. I'm going to put them in two places so that I've got two different options here. Sometimes I have sort of maybe white in one side and more colours in that side. So that's what I'm going to do. But you can see how quickly it's melting. So we know that this is hot already. Now, the colours I've got on here at the moment, although I will be adding more later, I have got, let's move it across so you can see it a little bit better. We've got white, brown, black, that is blush pink, petal blue and spring green. So these are the colours that are mainly in my beginner's cocoa butter painting kit, with the exception of blush pink. We normally supply dusky pink, so if anybody wants this one, it needs to buy that one separately, but that's what we've got in there. Now we're going to use our paint brushes, but mine of which we'll need to clean before we get started, and they are all numbered, although I have to say the numbers are fading a little because I've been doing so much painting recently, but that doesn't matter. So they're all numbered 1, 0, 2, 3, and we have a 0, 0 brush as well, which actually I might need today because it's quite small painting today. So we can discard 2 and 3 immediately because I know we're going to be doing small painting. Oh no, actually we will need them for the igloo. No, I take that back. We'll bring those back. We've got 1 and 0 for most of the sort of detailed work, and then we're going to use 2 and 3 to do the igloo, so we will need the larger brushes there. Okay, so we're going to get started because we only have an hour to do this. It's not very long, and so let's pull the kitchen roll back there. So first thing I'm going to do, because I was painting very late last night, I haven't had a chance to clean my brushes, but it's a wonderful opportunity for me to then show you how to do it. So all I do with my brushes, normally I go to the sink and give them a good wash with washing up liquid and hot water when they're finished. However, you can also do this. Cocoa butter's really hot, so if you just take your brush and dip it into the colour, you can see your brush is coming up really clean now, and then you're ready to roll. And that's what I do when I'm demonstrating, is I just clean my brushes as I go, and then I don't have to worry about rushing around backwards and forwards to the sink, so I can just keep them going like that. So it's very easy and straightforward. It just means I'm not leaping about too much when I'm trying to do this dem. So we'll start with the igloo of all things. Let's start with the igloo. There we go. Let's get this back onto screen so you can see it better. There we go. So what we're going to do with the igloo is we're going to, first of all, take hold of paintbrush 3. We're going to grab a little bit of petal blue and some white. We're going to mix those two together, and we're going to go for it as pale a blue as we can get away with. So we are going to have to mix a fair amount of blue in there. Let me just put a quiet thing on my laptop because it's busy making noises. Okay, so we're going to make this very pale, and we're going to use this colour to create kind of like an icy frozen effect. So we all know about Frozen, don't we, from the film? So if you haven't watched it, you can hardly miss it. It's literally everywhere. And we're going to use this colour like this across the whole thing. So we're just going to paint straight across the white igloo. So you're probably thinking, oh, she's done that white and now she's painting it blue. I know, but that's okay. So we're just going to go straight across, and we're not going to do it very kind of like full coverage. We're just going to go whatever, just literally straight across it. Oh, a little hair there. Let's get rid of that. There we go, like so. We're not going to worry about detail or anything at the moment. We're literally just going to get that painted straight across. We don't actually want it to be flat, so we don't want to spend a lot of time making it sort of too precise. We just literally just go across it like so. I'm not going to cover it completely either, so it looks like a really bad paint job, but that's fine. That's exactly what we need it to do, because what we want to do is leave some of the white there. So when you think about white, or certainly snow, there is all an element of blue in there somewhere, so that's what we're doing there. So we've just put down a very light covering of the blue. I'll just leave that to dry and we'll come back to that later on, but we've got our first kind of layer down on there. So let's get that there. Okay, right, let's have a look at the little people. Let's start with those next, shall we? So obviously they're wearing little jackets and they've got hoods and various things on there. So you can customise these. You can make them any colour you want. It's entirely up to you. So there's no sort of standard way of doing this, but I'm just going to basically randomly and basically even pick some different colours, and we'll just kind of roll with it. I was going to put red on there, which I forgot to do earlier. So I'm just going to add a little bit of red to my palette. So I've got that as well. There we go. Okay, so let's have a look at this little chap over here. So what we'll do is we'll give him a little green outfit, I think. So we'll use paintbrush number 1, because we don't want to use a paintbrush that's too big, and we'll just grab some of the spring green colour. Now I've gone for spring green because it's quite a nice light colour, whereas if I go for like woodland green, it's a bit darker. Moss green is a really nice colour as well. It's not quite as vibrant as spring green, but I kind of want these, they look like children, so I think nice bright colours for their clothing would be appropriate. So that's what I'm doing here. So we will just mix that round, and then we will start with his little jacket here. So we're going to come along down here like so. These are quite detailed, so they do remind me a little bit of the reindeers, I have to say. So there's a little bit of extra painting involved with this, but I quite like that. So I'm going to move this around. You know what I keep saying about make sure you move things around to make it easy for yourself. Yeah, I quite like the detailed ones myself. I think they're a bit more challenging. But the igloo one, as I say, I've made this kind of little story where someone's outside fishing and his friend's waving at him, and then this random seal comes along, you know, as you do when you're out there. So that's layer 1, and obviously we'll give him some nice green trousers as well, so he's matching, and put that all in together. So not too bad a coat on layer 1 for that, but what we'll do is we will come back to that. It almost looks a bit yellow on screen, but it is actually green. And once we go over it, the second layer, you'll see it change anyway. Okay, let's move on. So let's now do this little one down here. And what should we do him in? Let's do red, but we'll go pale to start with. So we'll get a bit of red, and then we'll grab some white. So we'll pale it down a little bit, like so. And then, where are we? Okay. So I've already painted him several times. I've got other examples next to me to try and remind me what I did. There we go. Sometimes when I go live, I go a bit blank. That's my memory. Oh dear. We go live, we always write notes. We were talking about this on the live last night. So we do this drawing of our cake that we plan to do. And it never turns out anything like our drawing, but we try anyway. But it's to help us, remind us when we're live, because things have to be done in certain orders. Otherwise we start having a problem. So I do have a little example of what I should be doing next to me under everything else, but I found it now. There we go. And I say I found it, I've just moved it. Oh, there we go. And that's his knee there. That's also part of his outfit. So we're imagining them in all these all-in-one bodysuit things, I think, aren't they, really? Although this one actually looks like he's wearing more of a kind of a Christmassy outfit, so we'll go for that. He's obviously waiting for Father Christmas, this one. There we go. Okay, that's nice and straightforward so far, isn't it? There we go, let's put that there. Right, let's carry on. Now, let's do the fish blue, shall we? Why not? Let's have a blue fish, and we'll use our petal blue. So we want to make sure it stands out against the blue background. So we'll make it full strength. Oh, actually, we'll put a tiny bit of white in there just so we've got some room to shade if we need to. We're just going to paint you blue. He should stand out. There he goes. He stands out fine against the blue background. I don't really want to challenge the colours too much on this. I want to kind of keep them so like this, telling a story, a little scene here. Okay, right, still on paintbrush 1. Let's turn that round. Hot, 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 and we'll mix up some white. So there we go. So we'll grab some white dust. Here we go. And make sure it's nice and thick. The thicker it is, the better the coverage, but you want to make sure you've mixed the dust properly, because if you haven't mixed the dust properly, you're just basically paletting on lumps of it, which is no good. So we don't want to be doing that. And then we'll do the little sort of hoods that are around the edge of the characters. So we'll go round here. Let's bring that in a bit closer to me so I'm not struggling. There we go. So we'll just kind of, I was going to dab it in, but I think I'm going to struggle to get into these corners, so we'll just brush it on for the moment. I was trying to work out if that was a bit of a beard, but it isn't. No, he hasn't got a beard. That's part of the jacket. There you go. If I make a mistake, it doesn't matter because I can paint over it anyway, so I'm not that worried about it. It doesn't really matter. You can always fix it. And then round here. Round we go. Now his face and his eyes and all the other bits and pieces I'm definitely going to need a smaller brush for. So brush 1 at the moment is just about okay for this. I'm actually going to stipple it now I've got it into place, because I just want it to be a little bit sort of furry looking. And then again, similar with this bit here, we will just stipple over there. Better than painting flat, I think, for this kind of thing, because we want them to look a little bit kind of furry. There we go. Like so. And then we will replicate that. Yeah, we'll go across the bottom here. Yeah, let's go across the bottom here. Go across there like that. Might paint that panel slightly darker in a minute, so we'll keep that where it is. There we go. Is he still on screen? Yes, he is. And then we'll give him a fluffy boot top across here. Quite a lot of white in this one, as you can see. There we go. Like so. Very nice. Let's turn him round. And then whilst we've got white on our brush, because there's no point in cleaning our brush up and moving on to another colour, we may as well stick with the same colour. We will go in and do this little chap down here as well. The one who's fishing with his sea lion friend, as one has when one is living in the Antarctic. There we go. That's like so. Now I'm actually on my own at the moment, so I am struggling to read comments. So I'll do my best to look at them at the end. Or if you have any further comments, I'm sure you can always use my email and get in contact with me, because I'm painting. I'd love to say I can read comments and paint at the same time, but I've not quite mastered that art yet. Maybe at some point. I can talk and paint, but I don't think I can read comments at the same time. So Kelly's not here at the moment. She's at home making buttercream, actually, because we've got a load of orders in, so we've got that to do. So I've got to crack on with that. There we go. He's got a very fluffy bit going around the bottom of him here. I guess that's because he's sat down, isn't it? And then there's a little bit on the top of his boot there. Let's make sure we get all the colour down there, because I don't want any blue showing through. Lovely. Okay, see how quickly it comes together. Actually, it is very, very quick, this one. Let's go back to the igloo. Let's go back and put some more detail onto there. So let's turn this around. It's very hot today. And we'll grab paintbrush number 3. And we'll use that one. Make sure it's got a little bit of that blue in it, but we'll just take that out a little bit. There we go. And then we'll go to the petal blue. Obviously, that was the colour we had originally, so we're just going to make that a little bit stronger. And we're going to kind of do the lines inside the igloo. So what we'll do is we'll go down like so, and then we're going to take paintbrush 3 and we're going to try and drag it across a little bit. Let's just make that tiny bit. I don't want to turn it into a blue house, but I would like to have some blue lines going let's grab that a bit more. There we go, into that. So into the lines of the igloo, and then just using that brush just to pull the colour out so you don't end up with really straight lines really. It's like I'm tiling now, everyone. This is what I'm doing. I'm tiling an igloo. That's the only way to describe it. I'm just doing some grouting currently. Grouting my igloo. There we go. All right, so come across there. I think I might have picked up a bit of green there just to help me. That's not very good, is it? Let's go back and correct that. The green is very close to the blue. Let's grab a bit of that. It's got a slight hint of green in there, but we can overpaint that. Maybe this igloo's been on changing rooms or something. Maybe that's what's happened. Maybe Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen's got hold of it and decided to give it some green grout or something. There we go. Okay. Let's go down to the door here. And just brush that along as we go. Grab a bit more. Yeah, it's definitely become teal now. By accident, of course. So all the images of It's a White Igloo has now gone out the window because it's now petal blue with a hint of white. Put some bit more white on it later on, but for now we're just going full blue and picking up the definition in the igloo. Let's turn it round. So I'm sure that some of you are probably thinking, what on earth is she doing that blue? Or others of you are going, I never thought about doing it blue. She's right. What a good idea that is. See, then it's just not a flat, horrible white piece of modelling paste or sugar paste. It actually starts to look a bit more, I don't know, theatrical. Maybe? Is that a good word for this? I don't know, really. Realistic. In a blue cartoon way, maybe. All right, let's go down here. And that way. I think we're nearly there. It's only when you actually look on camera that you go, oh, I've missed a bit. Let me have a little look. Let's turn this round. There we go. So we started to get something a bit more realistic there. I'm not going to interfere too much with that centre bit. I'm going to leave that a little bit more white than it is at the moment. So we'll leave that to dry again and we will come back to that later on with everything else. Right, let's mix up some more colours. So let's go for, what should we go for now? So I'm going to change over to paintbrush 0. I'm going to grab some of this blush pink colour. We're going to add some white to it. There we go. I'm imagining their faces are going to be a little bit rosy pink because it's going to be cold outside. So we're not going to make them too pale. Or maybe they're pale with cold. They could be. Always be careful when you're mixing up pale colours because they often look paler than they actually are until you put them onto the paste and then you think, oh, that's a bit too dark, or normally. That's not too bad, maybe a little bit more colour. I'll warm you up a little bit. What I don't want to do is end up giving him looking like he's been too close to the radiator. Yeah, he's a little bit radiator-esque at the moment, but that's okay. We can always tone him down a little bit. It's very hot where he's been, you see. He's been sat by the fire. I'm just talking rubbish now. So the only thing we need to worry about on him is just that bit there, because no other parts of his skin are showing. He's wearing gloves, he's wearing boots, so that's it for that one. And then for the other one, let's grab a little bit of brown, and we'll go a little bit, add some pale, add some white to it, maybe a tiny bit more. There we go. And then you down here, like so. Oh, nearly went in his hair then. That's okay, because we're going to do his hair later, so, and that'll be darker, so we'll do that. He's definitely been sat by the fire, that one. That's all right. There we go, like so. And again, the same with this one. There's no other skin tone on show, so we don't need to do anything else there. We can just leave that as is. Okay. Right, here we go. All right, what should we do next? Let's do some hair, shall we? Let's do this one's hair, even though we've just done it. So we'll grab some black, because we can make the boot colour up at the same time. So we'll grab some black and we'll grab some white, and we'll make a very dark grey colour. Like so. And we'll just come in here. So it will look black when we paint it, but it won't be. It will be dark grey. And then we can add some black over the top for more detail later on, because as with everything with these paints, it's always about the finishing of the paint rather than the first layer. The first layer is always the kind of more, just get the paint down, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll do the boots at the same time for you. You can have black boots. Let's put those down there, or dark grey as they are at the moment. So you can have those, and then we'll do the other ones slightly different colour maybe. So you definitely need your zero brush for this bit, because there's some quite sort of tricky bits to get into here. As I say, this is a little bit like the reindeer. There's lots of detail in here. Okay. Right. Now let's head over to this one again. So with this one, what we'll do is, let's do some brown boots for this one. So brown again with a hint of white. A bit more white. And we'll just pop some there. It's actually a bigger surface area. I probably could have used a bigger brush, but hey ho. Yeah, no, I think I will, because that's sometimes when the brush is just too small, it's actually can be quite annoying to paint. So let's get the brush a bit bigger, and then it's quicker and easier for me to do. You see what I mean? You don't need to suffer with a small brush. Kelly paints everything with a small brush. She'd be here forever, but I can't do that. I'm the reverse. I'm just like, nope, that's not happening. There we go. We've got his little boots there painted. Right, okay, so just going to clean my brush one up again. And we might need some more cocoa butter actually, because we're starting to go through it. So let's put a little bit more in. Oops, I'll drop some of those. There we go. Let's put that in. You can see it melting really quickly. let's do the seal, because we nearly forgot about him down the bottom here. So we'll just do him in a very light grey. So again, we'll just grab some more white into this grey colour here. And we'll paint him up. There he is. Don't want to make him too dark anyway, but we'll just, again, just give him one layer to start with. Like so. And across there. There we go. Let's bring that out from under the paint palette more, because I potentially might chuck dust on it than anything else. There we go. And we'll leave you to dry as well. Okay, next thing. We will go back to the gloves. Now what we'll do is we'll paint up some just neat red now. So red with no white added to it. So we'll make these stand out. I'm using paintbrush 1, but it's, to be honest, it's getting quite tight with the colours. We're just about managing. Don't really want to change brush unless I absolutely have to, but we'll make these gloves quite strong in colour. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll just swipe a bit of colour down the side of his arms so that it doesn't look too matte. So again, we'll just take that red colour again and we'll just go down the side of his arm, and then we'll just blend that in a little bit. And we'll do the same down that gap there. And we'll just pull that across a little bit. And then underneath him down here, it's always bound to be a little bit darker. So again, we'll just put a little bit more in there. And then back to the red again. And we'll just put some down there. Maybe a bit more at the bottom. Like so. There we go. All right, let's go over to the green one now. So let's just get the red out of our brush. Otherwise we will forget. Okay, let's turn that around. So spring green. Right, let's go spring green. Lovely bright colour spring green, but we're going to do it with no white in it at all now. So just neat spring green. And then what we'll do is we'll do his gloves first, so they stand out. There we go. And oops, wrong one. Let's do this one. Keep putting my brush in the wrong colour today. And then another one there. Like so. And then we'll do the centre of his jacket. We'll do that. I'm not going to bother to go round these circles. I'm just going to paint straight over the top of them, because when I come to do my colour over the top, that's just simple, easy, straight over the top. I don't need to work my way around that, because I'm going to do black buttons, so that will be there. Okay. And then let's grab that. And then what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of, oops, that's a bit too runny. A little bit of extra dark colour in there. That's what I've got on that brush, but it's not what I anticipated, clearly. Something dodgy, something that I wasn't expecting. What colour have I got on there? Let's get that out. Pink, probably. Yeah. Let's neaten that up a little bit. And down this side, a bit more green. Across the bottom there. Under that. And then, oh, let's get some more going under his, I want to say his beard, but it's not, is it? It's his sort of cuff of his jacket, like a beard. There we go. Like so. Okay, now we need to do his hair. So we'll do that brown to match his boots. He's coordinating with his boots. Got a very straight sort of bowl cut hair. He's obviously been using some sort of pudding basin to cut his hair, I think. There we go. Right, now the features, let's do those while we're waiting for everything else to dry. Let's turn this round. You've heard me talking about dotting tools. I'm always talking about dotting tools. There we go. So these are the dotting tools. They're back in stock with us now. We didn't have them last week, but we have got them this week. And they're really good for doing centres of eyes. Nice and straightforward to do. So we're just going to mix up a little bit of black next to the grey. So we've got a little bit going on there. So we mix it with the paintbrush first. Make sure it's nice and thick. Put that down. Then you can take your dotting tool. Just pick the size that you need. And then you can just dot it straight into the centre of the eye. It's easier than a paintbrush. Okay, just go back in and do it again. Like so. So very straightforward. You don't need to do anything else with that, just straightforward. Now, if your sugar paste is soft, sometimes what happens is the sugar paste kind of goes around the dotting tool, so that's even easier than mine because mine is actually set, so it's a little bit harder to get the effect or the same effect. That's why I'm going back in several times. Now I've got a slightly smaller end on the other end of this dotting tool, so I'm just going to turn that over. I'm just going to go in and just do these little seals' eyes while I can. Make sure they've gone in. That's better. Sometimes it's just finding the right size dotting tool for the eye that you're trying to do. And then we've got a little fish here, so we'll give him an eye. We'll give the fish an eye. There we go. Just a little bit easier than an actual brush. I'm just going to go back and make sure I've got this. That's better. Not that I'm fussy, but I am. And then the zero paintbrush here, which is a very, very fine paintbrush. I turn that round. Let's turn it upside down. I'm going to then just go round and do his smile. So it just fits into the gap there. So just be careful. We'll give him his eyebrows as well because they're there. Like so. I haven't made him too cross, have I? If you change somebody's eyebrows, it can really alter the appearance of their character. So I found out. If you do people modelling, some people do people modelling, and you find that if you change the eyebrows, it can really affect the way the whole thing finishes. It's quite amazing actually what a small change will do. I'm going back into the grey, sort of mid-grey colour here. I'm just going to put a few streaks in his hair, like so. So he looks like he's actually got some hair rather than sort of the flat bowl cut that he's got currently. So we'll give him, actually it's not, his hair's not as bowl cut as the other one, is it? So we'll give him a bit more hair like that. That looks better. Okay. And then also what we'll do is we will take the black, so the black that's got no white in it at all, and we'll put those down the bottom of the boots. So just put them around the end of the boots there, like so. Now, I've got to create a fishing rod, which I would be absolutely fine with. I'm sure it'll be no problem at all. So let's do that. So I'm going to just switch over to paintbrush 1. And we're going to imagine we've got a fishing rod that's going to come up to about sort of that point there. And then we're going to sort of create a sort of a wire there, I guess. So we'll make the rod dark grey. We won't make it black. We'll make it dark grey. We'll give ourselves a little bit of a chance here. And then we're going to aim to go to about there. So I'm going to start between his hands. So we've got a little bit of freestyle painting going on here. So we don't need to make it too tall. About there is fine. I'll go backwards and forwards and make sure we've got it. Okay, so it's got to go between his hands because obviously he's holding it. You could even just poke it out the bottom a little bit. I don't know a lot about fishing, so I'm not 100% sure there. But let's assume that that's what we need to do. Okay, so let's take the same colour. We'll pale it down a little bit now. We still want to be able to see it, but I've changed brush to 0 so that we've got a little bit of a finer line, and then we'll just come all the way down to our fish here, like so. Okay, the little fishing rod. So we've joined it all up there. So we've kind of made a bit of a story there. I'm not entirely sure whether Marion has got any of hers fishing, but I saw it and thought, actually, that would make quite a nice fishing rod, so we'll do that. And then I'm going to just take this again, just go into the sea lion's mouth. We're going to come back and add a bit of shading to him in a minute because he's just a little bit bland in colour at the minute, so we need to sort of up his game a little bit. Okay, just going to, what colour have I got on there? Oh, I've still got brown, that's right. I'm just going to tease that mouth back a little bit because I've overshot the line a bit. There we go. So if you make a mistake, you can always go back and correct it once it's dried. Let's turn this one around over here. Right. And then we'll just paint maybe the underside of his boot with black, like so. And then maybe some little buttons. There's some buttons there, so let's have those in black as well so they stand out. There we go. And then we've got the buttons here, which we'll do. Now I've got, what brush am I using? Paintbrush 1. I'm just about managing. I'll have to switch to 0 in a second because I won't be able to do that on the face. It'll be too much. Everything about this, you really need the right brushes because if you don't, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. Now, when you paint features, don't do it in black, do it in dark grey. It will just take the sharpness out of it a little bit. So even though it looks black, I can assure you it isn't. All right. And we'll come round here. He's a happy chap, this one, isn't he? He's obviously caught a big fish or something, or about to just go around the outside edge of his nose. There we go. In fact, I've gone in his nose a little bit, so I'll just go back and dab that in the centre, because I'd still like him to have a pink nose, really. There we go. We could always indicate that he's cold, so we could just grab a little bit of extra pink, and we could just put him a bit of blusher on his cheeks. There we go. Like that, so it's super cold. There we go. Okay, let's now grab some of the dark grey again. Put a bit of white in it because it's a bit too dark at the moment, so a little bit paler, like that. There we go. There we go. Right, let's go to the bottom of the sea lion. We'll put a little bit of dark down here, and then we'll grab one of our other brushes, which hopefully hasn't got, oh, it has got pink on it. I was just about to say, which hopefully doesn't have pink on it, and lo and behold, it's got pink on it. Let's clean out another one. And we'll just bring that up. There we go. Just so you don't look completely flat, because we don't want that. Let's go around. What colour have I got here? So I'm just trying to make sure I put the right colours in the right place here now. That's better. A little bit down there. I got the right brush here. Yep. Just run out of paint. That's better. There we go. A bit along there as well, maybe, just to enhance that so it stands out a bit more. Lovely. Right, let us get some blue. Let's grab a little bit of blue. So neat petal blue here, and we'll just bring that down the edge here, which actually was the colour we used anyway, wasn't it? So it's not really going to stand out much. I'd forgotten about that, but that's okay. All right, so a little bit of shading on the brown. Let's just grab that on the boots and in that man's hair in a second. So we'll just put a little bit over the toe of his boot and over this one here, just to make the boots look 3D. Otherwise they look a bit flat. Oops, nearly painted my board then, didn't I? Okay, and then we'll go back to the hair at the top, and I've got a bit of black in here, but I'll just mix it in with this brown, and then we'll just create some more hairlines on here, just so it's not quite as pudding basin as it was earlier. There we go, that's a little bit better. Right, let's put in some snow around it now so that we've got a bit of a base going on. Otherwise at the moment it all looks very disjointed, like nothing belongs together. So let's try it up a little bit now. So I'm just going to put some more cocoa butter in. I'm just cleaning my brush out, clearing out my cocoa butter, and then pop those in because we're going to need a fair amount of white. Except I've got white on the opposite side. That was a bit silly, wasn't it? Right, let's grab some white. Let's mix it here. So we're going to put white down first, and then we're going to stick on some luster colours. We're going to use Wonder Dust Snowstorm, which is showing on our website at the moment. We're just waiting for Sugar and Crumbs to dispatch to us, so there'll be a tiny wait for that, but we are getting it. It's been very popular for snow. With a name like Snowstorm and the word glitter in it, can't really go wrong, can you? So let's take this, and what we'll do is we will just dabble it. So we're just going to stipple our snow. So we're not going to sort of snow up the whole thing. We're going to snow areas of it, and we want it to be in sort of small areas like that. You'll find the minute you put down something like this is when it all really starts to change. I think it does anyway. Let's put some there. And we'll join you up as a bit of a scene with this thing, I think, here. Now the fish, I'm sure, has come out of a hole in the ice, so we're not going to worry too much about the details of that. We'll just assume it's come out of a hole. And then we'll come around there like so. So suddenly the board that looked sort of quite empty fills up quite nicely. And I'm using paintbrush 3 here, so that is spreading nicely, and I'm dabbing it on rather than painting it flat like that. So you can see that the brush is giving us a nice effect there on the whole thing. Let's go up to the igloo, and let's go around the base of the igloo. Don't really want to join it up with anything, like so. Let's get a path going on in there. And across there. We want to try not to get the snow in his hair, and keep that separate. What's that looking like? Not too bad, eh? Go. Let's grab that. Make that a little bit whiter, I think, because otherwise it's not as bright as it needs to be. I'd like it to be a little bit brighter. Let's grab some of that. How are we doing? Could give him a snowball. Oh, it's tempting. Maybe we'll give you a snowball. What do you think? No, I'm not going to do it. Well, we'll put some snowballs down here, but mate, you could be throwing a snowball. Let's kind of align that a little bit. Right, let's brighten up the snow. So once we've got the snow down in basic white, although it's very bright already, we can use this colour here, which is called Wonder Dust Snowstorm, which again, as I say, is showing live on our website at the moment. We're just waiting for delivery. It's all been paid for and on its way. So as soon as that gets here, we can send it out. So when you go to use something like this, which is a luster colour, you tend to use more powder than you would perhaps with the matte colours. So you might go through it a little bit quicker. And then how I deal with this is I kind of almost scoop it up. So I've got it on my paintbrush number 3. And what I find is it just lifts the whole thing. So it just makes it really lovely and sparkly. You can also use it not only on the snow, you can use it on the hood of his jacket. just kind of pick it up. What I try not to do is to end up with a straight line anywhere. I don't want that, so we've got to be really careful we don't do that. So along there, like so. So if you wanted to do this for your Christmas cake, so if this is your Christmas cake idea, you've got space up there to put Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas, whatever it is you want to say, or if you want to do this for a school fundraiser, maybe you could. This would go down really well, I think, with the school fundraiser because it's very kids orientated, isn't it? I'm just going to put a little bit of the snowstorm on his hood. I'm going to try not to get it in his hair because my brush is quite thick. We'll go around there. There we go, we'll do you as well. So I don't want to leave you out. And go around there. His hood's a little bit thicker, so he'll be okay. There we go. Like that. A little bit in there. A bit on the sleeves. Just it will, what's happening then is it will pick up throughout the whole paint, rather than just having one area that's a little bit glittery. If you just do a few, and then it will pick it up there, and then you get a better effect, I think. Come across there. Then we're going to apply some to the igloo, so the igloo at the moment is a tiny bit flat still. So what we'll do, we'll make sure we don't have grey in our snowstorm before we start. And we'll just kind of do some of the kind of corners of this. And again, we'll just dab it on. I'll turn that round because my hand's probably in the way. It's not really helping matters. I think don't think too hard about the igloo. It will actually, as long as you don't overpaint it, it will actually come together quite nicely on its own. There we go. I'll put more up on the roof, on the top where maybe the snow is settling. I'm hoping you're picking up the snowstorm effect. There we go. Like so. Let's go along there. So I've nearly used all of that now, just through the snow and the bits and pieces there. I'll turn it round. You can see what I mean about the igloo. Rather than having it flat white, then I think it is much better if you can add in some of these different colours. So blue is always a really good one to do with anything like snow. I'm just reading somebody's comment. Can you use other brands of luster colour? Well, I always use Sugar Flare because that's what I know. And I use Wonder Dust because that's what I like. But you can use any dust. So as long as it's a dust, not a gel or a paste, it must be a dust. So anything like, I know Fractal do sorts of colours, and trying to think of the woman's name now, Faye Carhill, Squire's Kitchen, all of those. There's no reason why you can't use, as long as it's a dust. And you mix it with the cocoa butter. But in our kits that we sell, we always put in Sugar Flare because that's what I know. I know this is going to sound like I'm an old lady here, but basically because I've been cake decorating for 35 years and I know these Sugar Flare colours inside out, I find it very difficult to comprehend anything else. But the Wonder Dusts are amazing and they work really, really well for some of the other colours here. Just got my Paintbrush Zero here and I'm just going to put a tiny little white dot in the eye just to brighten the eyes up a little bit. The tiniest of dot, there we go, and a little dot in the eye of the fish, a couple of little dots in the eyes of the sea lion. The other little chap's got his eyes closed, so that makes my life a bit easier because I don't have to put any dots in there, and then they look like a little bit more awake. That's better. than when you just have a black dot in something. It's better to have a little bit of white in there as well. I'm just going to add a bit of colour to his tongue on that side because it is rather, let's make that a little bit pinker. There we go. It's all this silly little detail that makes all the difference. Otherwise I'll look at that later and go, well, I missed that, I should have done it. And there we go. Right, that's it. So that is the igloo paint, or what I have done for the igloo paint today. So I think that makes a nice little scene, doesn't it? It's not too complicated, lots and lots of different different colour schemes you can do. Kelly, I've got some other things that Kelly has done here, which I will show you now as we go along. Something else that she's done, which you can do, is you can just take the white, which my brush has got pink on, and you could do some little snowflakes. So if you wanted to take it now at this point and just fill in some gaps, you can just do some crosses. So if you do want to do anything like a snowflake, if you do a cross, a large cross like that, and then do a small one in the middle, you can do some of those. Let's do some of those quickly, just so we've got something in the sky. There we go. This is our snowflakes. And actually, what we could do, this is what happens, you see. I start to get ready to finish, then I start seeing all these other things. What we could do, let's turn this round, is we can use our dotting tool to make some, so it's got a bit of pink there, some other snow. So we've got our snowflakes, and then also we've got our snow. So I'm doing this with a 0 nozzle. It's very light, so please don't try and do this with paintbrush 3 because you'll get the biggest, chunkiest snowflakes ever, and then it will detract from all the lovely painting that you've done. So you want to try not to do that if you can help it. Let's put one in there. We might as well go whole hog while we're here. Go. Let's turn that round. See how much that's filled that up, and we'll just put another couple down the bottom here, and then we can do our little snow with our dotting tool. Just fills all the gaps as well, doesn't it? So it all looks like a bit of a story. So you can paint all these plaques in advance. You don't need to wait until Christmas. You can get them all done now. I'm going to use one of these. It's a ball tool. Some of you will have seen that before. Let's turn it round. I'm going to grab my ball tool and just pop it into the white-ish because it's got a bit of pink in there now. All right, let's grab a bit more white. So we've actually got some true white rather than pale pink that's starting to evolve. Sometimes when your paint palette gets as messy, you end up mixing colours up a bit. So let's try not to do that. So we'll dip that in there. So we'll use this similar to the dotting tool. The reason we would use this one is because it's bigger. So if I wanted to make some bigger dots, then I would use this instead. And if I want to make even bigger ones, then I'll just flip it over the other side. Like this, I'll just turn that over. Got one on this side. And then I would just have bigger dots. And actually, sometimes a variety of sizes is better than having them all the same. So don't be afraid to try different sizes of things rather than just having the same old size. And if you do go wrong with it, you can always just go over it again. Oh, I'm pleased I've done background now because I'm happier now. Do like a bit of background, eh? This is addictive, isn't it? I could sit here doing this. Right, there we go. That's better. How about that? What a change that has just by adding in a little bit of background. There we go. Love it. Right, so there we go. That is the igloo kit. So there are many other elements to this as well. So don't forget there's the large sea lion, the dog, there's another character. There's a larger sea lion as well. So there's lots of other different characters. It's quite a big set, this one. And obviously you can move things around and create your own different design according to what it is that you want to do. But yeah, I think the snowflakes really are nice, aren't they? They kind of fill it all up and make it look really sweet. Someone's just commented about the clothing. Yeah, it's really important to do really bright clothing on this because I think it looks really nice to go full bright with this rather than just doing it pale. I'm sitting here going, and now this bit, and now this bit. Sorry, I'm just going to put centres in these buttons now. I can't help myself. Once I've seen something, I've got to do it. Right. I'll just have little centres in his buttons. There we go. There we go, I'm happy now. I'll stop in a minute, it's awful. There we go. All right, so what I'll do is I'll take a picture of this and I'll pop it onto Patchwork Cutters Club so you will be able to see it. And so if you've missed the demo, you can always go back and watch it from the start. So if once the live is complete, you will be able to see it from there. Right, let's put it back onto me. Here I am. Okay, so I plan to be back next week. I haven't agreed yet with Marion what day or what I'm doing, but we will. So I'll be back lunchtime one of the days next week, probably Wednesday, but I will come back to you and confirm it. It will go up as an event, so you'll see it on there. If you like that event or say you're going, you'll get a Facebook notification which will help you to identify that we are actually going to be going live. It just helps you to know that on your screen it will come up Tracey Mann is now live and you will be able to see exactly what's going on from that point of view. So hopefully I'll be back next week when I've had a little chat with Marion, but I'm sure I'll probably be here next week. We're certainly doing a lot of these in the run up to Christmas and also just to kind of help Marion at this time while she's busy sorting her bits and pieces out. Patchwork cutters are available on our website, so traceyscakes.co.uk. Nikki has been delightfully putting up lots of links for me, so thank you very much, Nikki, for that. So if you do want to follow any of those links, go through and you'll find all the products that are on there. If you've missed all that, you can go into cake supplies on my website and you'll find the igloo set, the Christmas pudding, the reindeer and the cute characters and various other ones in the Christmas shop on my website as well. And there is a section for patchwork cutters. So there's lots and lots of things going on there. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this particular paint and I will see you all again next week. Bye for now.